Well, hello, friends and strangers. This is the first test that I'm making to see if I really want to do this or not. Making videos here in the house, and I don't even know if the microphone on the camera is up to par. I know the camera, the iPhone will do it, but I don't know about the audio part. I do have one of those blue snowball microphones here. I use from time to time, but I don't know exactly how I'd have to hook it up to this. I was kind of relying on the phone's microphone. So how are you folks doing out there? Oh, this is a new undertaking for me. I actually have been doing it for a long time, but I mean, it's a new undertaking in that I am making this new channel and trying to take on a plethora of different subjects. I've had some varied life, to be honest with you. I've done so many different things. It's taken a lot of years, as you can tell, to do them. But I got a good bit of experience, and I thought that I might just be able to answer a few questions that some folks might have because of the things I've been through. So let's see how this sounds. Well, hello to you, friend, whomever you may be out there in cyberspace. This is the first video I'm going to make on a new YouTube channel that I call Welcome Strangers. And I hope that anyone that comes here for the first time would be a stranger to me, probably, and I hope they don't stay that way, but would become a friend. I want to introduce myself. My name is Clyde Kenneth Rockwell. My dad's name was Clyde Lancaster Rockwell, and he went by the name of Clyde all his life, so everyone else called me Ken or Kenny until my father died, and then they started using the first name that I had never used all my life of calling me Clyde. So I just want to let you know about me. I was born in a town called Masontown, Fayette County, southwestern Pennsylvania, in the year of 1947, May 10. So I'm kind of old. I don't know if I can actually do this or not to be effective enough to come across. See, my hair's not brown any longer. It's kind of gray or silver, whatever you want to call it. There's not a whole lot of it left. At one time, I used to be 6 foot tall and weighed 190 pounds. Now, I think I'm about 5'11", and I don't know where part of me went. And I weigh about 230. So, dealing with diabetes type 2 and that neuropathy, aches and pains that you get in your extremities. I spent a good while on Okinawa in 1967 and 68 in the U.S. Army Transportation Corps, and we took supplies off of ships at Naha Port and stored them, including ammunition for the war in Nam. And anyway, I've done that, been on the other side of the world twice. I just wanted to let you know that I've had a lot of experiences in life, some that I know other people haven't had. They probably wouldn't want to have them. And some that you'd never even think about. For example, I trapped mongooses on Okinawa. You see, there's a snake over there. It's called the habu, which in the Ryukyuan language, Japanese, means hunter. Now, if you're familiar with most of the snakes around the world and the ones we have here in the United States, if, for example, a black snake or a rat snake, garter snake, sees you or hears you coming, they crawl off and try to get away from you out into the high grass and be gone. A copperhead or a diamondback rattler, they're a little different. I've come across a lot of them while I was hunting ginseng in the southwestern part of the state of Pennsylvania. Come across some copperheads, and they always just curl their head back like this in a strike position in case you happen to walk too close to them, but they don't run away. The same with a diamondback rattlesnake, timber rattler we call it here in the East. It does the same thing. But the habu is different. It's called hunter for a reason. It hunts. And when it hears something, it goes to it. So if you're making commotion going through the jungle on Okinawa or through the weeds or whatever in a forested area, they hang around streams a lot too. They'll come and check you out and see if they want to take you down. So I don't know exactly who it was, but somebody decided in the past to bring the mongoose to Okinawa because they are really quick. They're like a cat. If any of you folks out there have a cat, you know what I'm talking about. A cat is really quick. Well, so is a mongoose. And the mongoose would get close to a snake and tease it to strike at it, and it would follow its strike back until the snake's length didn't allow it to go any further. Then it would jump back in, grab the snake by the head, and invert its mouth, just like you would maybe a pair of socks. And they used to have them at shows on Okinawa that the indigenous people put on there to make a few bucks off of GIs and stuff. So I thought that I would maybe, since back here in the States, now I don't do it now, I don't even hunt now, but there was a time when I trapped muskrats, mink, coon, red foxes, gray foxes, possums, skunks. I was taking the fur in just like an old-time trapper used to do a century ago. And I would gather ginseng up in the summertime, take it into the fur post with me. And I was familiar with trapping. So I thought I'd trap a couple mongooses and see if I could go down to the local commissary that we had on Okinawa and see if I could find some borax. There's a brand name of this stuff that you preserve hides with called Colorax, but borax is the same thing, and it's just a chemical. And I went down and got some, and I made like a little mat that fits on top of a dresser or something that looks like a miniature bearskin rug, if you know what I mean. Had the teeth and everything showing, and I gave it to a friend of mine from Louisiana, and he shipped it home, and he probably still has it. And anyway, in order to trap the mongooses on a weekend, I rode around Okinawa on a horse that I'd rented for, I think it was 2 days, trying to find going through all the little villages and places and trying to find a steel trap. But for the life of me, I couldn't get them to understand what I was looking for. There's not a steel trap anywhere on Okinawa, I'll tell you that. So I decided I'm going to use what's called a deadfall. And so you can make a deadfall out of 3 sticks if you know how to do it. Now, I did. And the mess sergeant that cooked all of our meals at the 44th Transit Company gave me some leftover drumsticks from chicken. And I took them out and tied them to the tripstick on figure 4 deadfalls. Now, the mongoose didn't have any enemy at all on the island. It was a top predator. So I put 5 traps out and let them go overnight. And when I got off of my driving detail, that's what I did. I hauled ammunition and everything that anybody needs to survive on tactical tractor trailers, M52 tractors, and I believe it was M35 deuce and a halves, whatever they needed me to do. And I was a typhoon emergency driver on Okinawa. When the super typhoons came up through Typhoon Alley, they shut the whole island down. We would take all of our trucks and vehicles into the motor pool on a paved lot in the motor pool and park them real close together to each other, just like a rectangle. And the outside ones, we fastened them down with cables. And when the typhoon hit, everybody was to stay in their barracks, which is made out of cement blocks. That's Air Force, Army, Marines, Navy, whatever. You wasn't supposed to go out during a typhoon, except for me and 12 other guys from the 44th Transportation who had tactical vehicles that we drove. So we supplied everybody during the length. Sometimes a typhoon would come through and you'd be holed up for 3 days or more. If they get to this point where they just sit still as a storm and beat the heck out of everything, well, you still need to eat. You still need communications. I've hauled some really important communications that were text on paper in a briefcase that was underneath the passenger seat that we called the assistant driver's seat, in a deuce and a half. And that's all I had. I had a deuce and a half, and I wasn't hauling anything but a briefcase. But the deuce and a half is hard to beat. They're a good thing to use during a storm, especially, a big storm like that. They're a 6x6. You have to take that windshield down and hook it onto the hood so the wind don't blow it down, and wear a gas mask on your face so you don't get beat with like hail, pieces of hail and stuff while you're driving, because you got to set right out in it. But anyway, typhoons used to come up through there, but that was another thing that we had to take care of at the 44th. But after the second day, we came to the second night after we had the traps out, and I had 2 boys wanted to go with me. One was Joe Reed from Louisiana, and the other one was Jim Seaborn from Missouri. And they asked me if they could go with me to check out into the jungle, to check the traps after dark. And now this is just the first video that I'm making here. There's no way I could tell you all the things I've been through in a video, but I'll be back, on other subjects later. But I just wanted to tell you this. I don't have this all that well structured because I have 12 years experience at public speaking, and I went through a spokesman's club that taught, it's so valuable of an experience. I got to watch because I can see the mistakes everybody's making. Even global leaders do stupid things. And I want to come across as one who is sincere. You can believe this, everything I say is honest. And if it isn't, it's not my fault. And when I find out, I will fix it. That's the way that I've studied science, life, spirituality, all of my life. I've tried to push myself along to evolve in each one of those areas. As I learned something wasn't quite right, I would find out what made it more right, and then I would go that way. So anyway, I'm a sincere person. I want to come across that way. You can trust what I say is what I believe. But I caught 5 mongooses that night out of 5 traps. They had no predator above them, so they just overran the island, killing all kind of snakes, not just the haboos. But then I come along, and I got 5 of them, and I did give one to Joe Reed, and he sent it home to his wife in Louisiana, and they probably still have it. But I'm trying to think of why in the world it was I even told you about me being on Okinawa. But I've come home from there a couple times. I had a son who was born with spina bifida in 1967 while I was on Okinawa. I was in the U.S. Army and I couldn't get home. My wife, Vivian, what a trooper she is. She took care of everything, even staying in a nearby town in a house provided by, I don't know if it was a hospital or funded somehow by an organization where a parent could stay while the child was undergoing serious surgical operations. And she did. She stayed in a house at Morgantown, West Virginia, and I was on the other side of the world. She took care of everything, stayed there for about a month while he had a series of operations at what's currently called Morgantown Ruby Hospital. Anyway, I went across the Pacific Ocean twice and came back across it twice. About 10,000 miles away from home. The United States is about 3,000 miles, and then there's another 7,000 miles to the Pacific Ocean. Once I flew over the ocean and we circled and landed at Kadena Air Base. No, I'm sorry, Naha Air Base on Okinawa. And then I came home for a short visit to see my son and hug my wife again and tell her she's doing a good job, and then I had to go right back. At that time, I didn't go on a commercial flight, you know, was commercially scheduled. The first time I went in a military aircraft from the U.S. Air Force. But the second time I went, I was Army personnel. And of all things, I went with an airplane full of Marines. I had the experience with those guys. I was all, at that time, wearing civilian clothes. But I couldn't tell them, to tell you the truth, I couldn't tell them from my Army buddies. They acted the same way. A bunch of good guys. We stayed in Tokyo one night, catch a flight out of there the next day to Okinawa, and we walked down the street after dark and went in a little side place there and sat down at a table and had a beer together. I couldn't tell them from the Army, to tell you the truth. But we did have a problem with them we got in a big hassle over there on Okinawa with them. The Army did, but I don't want to bring that up. I don't want to, elaborate on it at all. So I see that like 18 minutes into this, and I don't want to make the videos that I do put up there on this new site called Welcome Stranger or channel. I don't want to make them like, I do want to make them like 15 or 20 minutes so a person doesn't get sick of hearing them. They're too long. So I'm going to be shutting this down pretty soon because I've been going for almost 19 minutes right now. So I'm trying to get established. I need whoever's watching this, if you enjoy it, go ahead and do, what do they say? Like it, subscribe to it. Yeah, if you subscribe to it, it gives my ratings a little boost. I'd appreciate that. I hope you enjoy sitting here and listening. And when I start getting some comments in, then you folks will be guiding the content of these videos that I set up for you, because I don't mind answering your questions. And we'll learn about each other as we go along. So listen, it's been good experiencing this first trial and of my equipment, I guess. I'm doing this on an iPhone. And I'll see you next time.